Okay, it is day 775 off the grid and working on the PA system again. I was doing some yesterday, just set all the gear up for a test run, but today I'm doing a bit of work on the speakers. Last year I found that this speaker here was pretty much stuffed, and this one here is getting pretty crappy, like it's a bit distorted. And I've got a couple of replacement speakers, although they're not as good as these. I'm going to try and install them. Last year I just kind of used these fixed resistors here to act as a dummy load, so this one could still be in circuit. But this year I'm going to replace both these speakers with some different ones that I salvaged from Mavtech. They are lower wattage speakers, and they're also 8 ohm speakers, I believe, so these resistors will come into play again. But I'm thinking two perfectly working speakers, although they'll be a little bit quieter, will be better than one non-working speaker and one kind of crackly one. So we'll carry on with that. And now I am done. I have mounted the replacement speakers and wired them up. So now, of course, we have a bit of an odd match of speakers, but that's common with a lot of the things Zan does. He doesn't give a fuck, things like that. Here's the speakers I've taken out. I'm going to look into it because they look like really nice speakers, and they're made in New Zealand by Fixin, which is, I think, a division of Philips. I'm going to look into seeing whether it would be worth getting these two reconed, and if not, I might have fun with them as crazy distorted guitar speakers, because they still pass the signal. They're not open circuit, they've just corrupted the voice coil, so they sound really distorted. Could be good for a link array kind of effect. But anyway, this is the replacements. Now, this one here is a fairly nice unit. It's definitely a woofer unit. This is not a full range speaker. It came out of a old hi-fi system, but it's also a New Zealand made Plessy. Maybe not quite up to the sort of PA quality of these ones, but see, it's pretty well made. It's got a pretty solid basket there and nice big magnet. Nice thick cone. But this one here is just a piece of shit cheapie, no name, no brand, kind of made in wherever. Probably Japan in those days was where the cheap kind of things like this were made. Probably not China, but you know, it's kind of that kind of budjo, really just cheap pressed frame and or basket as it's called, and you know, just a bit of cardboard there for the terminals and stuff like that. But what I've done is, because these two speakers here are 8 ohm speakers and they should really be 16, I've used again the resistor, and you better get out of there, Spider, or you're going to be trapped in there forever. I've used these 8.2 ohm resistors, 10 watt resistors, to basically just take some of the power off them and make them work in this configuration. I don't know what the power handling levels of these two speakers are, and this one with its small magnet probably not a hell of a lot, so those resistors are handy. They kind of will keep them a bit safer. The overall power that this whole box will be putting out will be much the same as it was in the last configuration when I had these two resistors in series on the one remaining speaker. So in theory, if you put 50 watts into this box, you should get 12.5 watts per speaker. Well, you'll still get 12.5 to these two, but these ones here you get half of that each, of course, because half will be dropped across the resistor. But nevertheless, they will make some noise, and it should be a reasonably good quality noise and not distorted and crackly. And I believe this speaker here, though, is quite sensitive too, so it may actually do alright even on the reduced power level. This one here will be more of a woofer, of course. So I'm going to cap it up now. Oh, one more thing. Normally when you're testing speakers to make sure that they are all pulling in or pushing out at the same time, you'd use a 9-volt battery. It's the usual thing we used to do back in the industry there. Well, I didn't have a 9-volt handy, so I just used this old car battery. And I say an old car battery, it's only putting out about 8 volts. You probably wouldn't want to use a good car battery or deep cycle battery. You'd probably blow your speakers. So yeah, it's all good. I'm going to put it back together and play my Kiss album again, unmasked, that I've been using to test the stereo and, well, the PA sound system. See what it sounds like.